I'm here at the house. As you can see, I'm doing some modifications. I'll let you know what it is. I'm working on my chainsaw. I did some adjusting on the carburetor. Here, let me come over here. Well, I got home. I was disappointed with the cut performance from my chainsaw. So I sharpened this chain. I sharpened. I sharpened this chain, and I took care of the rakers also. I filed the rakers. I filed the tops of the chain with the file, with the hand file. So we'll see how they do tomorrow. I got a job where I gotta cut down some trees along the fence there. But anyways, we'll see how it performs tomorrow. But anyways, what I did right now to the chainsaw, I did the muffler mod stage 4 Echo CS 4910. I opened up the muffler right here. I already had done the stage 1 stage 1, stage 2. Stage 1, I removed the inner silencer. Stage 2, I opened up these louvers. Stage 3, I opened up the front face of that port right there, as you can see. Then what did I do? Here, let me show you. I opened the carburetor right here. Yeah, these are things that you can do and they don't cost you any money, and you increase the performance of your saw and the response. Let me tell you. Okay, so what I did, I opened this thing up right here. So the first thing that I had done to the saw was do the muffler modification there. Honestly, I didn't really notice that much power. I just noticed a little bit increase of idle noise and stuff. But okay, so what I did, I took out the filter. I took out the limiting caps, adjustment limiting caps on the carburetor. Took out the carburetor, removed the limiting caps. I opened up the intake hole right here. I got my Dremel tool. I opened up this thing, see? All the way through. It normally has a plastic X right here. So straight shot to the carburetor. As you can see, I opened it up with the Dremel. Put it back together. Without carburetor adjusting, as soon as I cranked the thing on, without adjusting the carburetor, I did notice that it had more response and more power. I know that makes more power. I know that modification makes more power because it's been proven. I saw a guy that has a dyno, and he dynoed it after he did that modification. So that got me a little bit. I noticed more torque, more response, and I did notice like it had more. I don't know if it got quicker to the RPMs, but it felt to me like it had more RPM. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is I did notice a difference by doing that. What do you call it? Carburetor, the intake elbow trimming. I did notice a difference on that modification right there. And then the ultimate came when I tuned the carburetor to get that powerful, super fast response. And it's all in the tuning. You just got to know how to do it. Hold on, I'm trying to put this thing back. Okay. Let's focus. My gosh. All right. So what did I do to tune the carburetor? So I did the muffler modification. I did the intake modification. I took out the limiter caps on the carburetor, the two little red plastic limiter caps. As you can see, from factory, you cannot adjust the carburetor whatsoever. It has these two little caps on the screws. You got to take them off. They're plastic. You just got to force them and pull them out. Anyways, what did I first do to tune the carburetor, to tune the saw? I'm going to show you how it runs. Um, First thing I did, it has three adjustments: T, low, and high. T, I guess is whatever. I don't know what that means. Throttle, whatever. Idle. It's the idle. This is the idle, the low and the high. So I increased the idle to the right hand side. I turned it with a flat blade screwdriver. I removed the chain brake. Once the chain started moving a little bit, so I raised the RPMs, the idle. Once I saw that the chain started moving. Okay, I stopped slightly. Just when the chain started moving, I stopped. Then I went to my low. I didn't touch the high because I don't have a RPM gauge. I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna buy one soon, so I can adjust the high to bring it up to the highest RPM that it can go. I think it's 12,500 the limit or something like that. I gotta check it out. But anyways, yeah. So the high level, I did not touch it whatsoever. Now the low, what I did, you know, I went I went to the right into the thing started speeding up. The idle started speeding up. The chain started speeding. The chain started going faster until I noticed that the engine started like sounding funny. It starts like kind of like skipping or bogging or whatever. So I went to the right. I said, okay, that's not good right there. So I went all the way to the left. I noticed that the idle smoothed out. It slowed down the RPM. It smoothed out a little bit. I kept going. I kept going to the other side until it started to almost die. So then I had to find that sweet spot. So I went back to the right. I kind of went back and forth, listening to the engine, what the engine is doing. So I went to the right, and it sped up the RPM. It was sounding better, and then all of a sudden it started bogging a little bit. So I just brought it back. Once I went to the right, and it started like like it'll start accelerating. The RPMs are gonna raise, but then there's a point where the engine starts to like it's getting too much fuel or something. So it's like bugging a little bit, so you just bring it back slightly. So you gotta find that sweet spot, because if you go too much to the left, it dies down. If you go too high, the engine won't, it don't sound good. So you have to find that sweet spot. All right, so I got that the engine, the RPMs going faster there, and like, how can I say, it's like running faster but without bogging, running faster. So remember, now the chain is spinning faster. So then I went back to the idle, the T right here, the top. Remember, this is the low. The high I didn't touch. All I did was adjust the idle, the idle RPM, the T, whatever it is, the T, and the L, the low. So it's T L H, high, low, high, T, T, low, high. I only adjusted the T and the low. So then now I got the chain. I dropped back the RPMs down to the chain is barely moving. It's barely moving at idle, just barely. Sometimes it goes like that. It moves forward. It stops. Right. So, and then I noticed when I hit the throttle, oof, it has a lot better response. It's like bam, bam, bam. Yeah. Let me show you. Let me get the tripod. But I'm telling you, all you have to do is know how to tune these things to get that really fast throttle response. Because from factory, it's not tuned the most optimal way. It's not tuned the most aggressive. That's why when you get it from factory, you press the trigger, and there's like a delay. That's what the pros do. All they do is tune the carburetor. That's all you got to do a couple of little modifications. And like I said, right now I don't have the, what do you call it, the RPM gauge, the digital gauge thing. But I'm gonna buy one so I can tune the high, so I can raise the RPMs But let me show you how this thing responds now. It responds more aggressive. Yeah, and it only took me like about maybe half an hour to do all that stuff, because I'm a beginner, but I did see how they do it online. I know how to tweak on things, but I'm a beginner with you know, doing stuff to the chainsaw. But just I'm telling you, just these little modifications to your Echo CS 4910. You do your muffler modification, you do the intake elbow. That thing doesn't cost you nothing. You just gotta have a little Dremel, and I did it with the drill bits. What I did first here, like I said, I did muffler modification number one. I took out the first thing that I did when I got the saw. I took out the insert of the muffler. Then these louvers here, one, two, three, four, the louvers. I got a flat blade screwdriver, stage two. Like I say, stage two. I opened up the louvers. Now the next modification was here on the front face. I got some drill bits. I made two holes with the drill bit, and then I got my Dremel tool, and I opened it up and cleaned it up with the Dremel. You see how it came out? My muffler modification. It didn't cost me nothing. Then I went to the carburetor, the plastic intake elbow. I Dremeled out the plastic X that goes in the elbow that goes to the carburetor. I cleaned it up and everything to be smooth. That only took me about 15 minutes. About 15 minutes. Clean it up. Went to the carburetor, took out the carburetor adjustment caps, and then I adjusted the carburetor how I showed you. Yeah. And now it has incredible throttle response. Incredible throttle response. And what's going on? Yeah, I can definitely feel it has quicker throttle response and more power, a little bit more power, just by doing that. There you go. That's all you got to do to your CS4910 for more, a little bit more power, more throttle response, and like I said, later on, later on, I'll adjust the high side. I'm gonna use the chainsaw tomorrow. I got some cleanup there to do. Cut down some trees. Cause today I went to cut that bougainvillea. It was pretty pathetic. My chain wasn't cutting, and yeah, I was pretty disappointed in the performance. All right, bye. Thanks for watching.